And this is my day in the life presentation for my internship class. Now, beginning here, when I first walk into the library and come over to the reference desk, this is what it looks like from the outside. And so I usually sit here or here, but it changes depending because I tend to give right of way to the librarians who officially work here because depending on who I'm working with at the time, they do have their preferences for where they sit, so I try to give it to them. So again, this is what the reference desk at the CSUB library on the first floor looks like from looking outward. Now, from the inside looking out, this is what it looks like. Uh, as you can see here, if a person comes up and they have a question, let's say they want to find a book, they can go ahead and come here and sit in this chair. If we press like two keys, such as the Windows and P key, that'll pull up a menu here, and we can press duplicate, and that will show what is on our screen on their screen so that they can follow along with us in the search. And so, just a few more showcases of the library reference desk in person, just to give you an idea of the point of view from my point of view. So now, if now when it comes to now what I'm showing here is this is the LibAnswers website, and when it comes to once you log in and go to the dashboard, the front page here, if you go to reference analytics, every time you have an in-person uh, question asked, you go ahead and log it in here for analytical purposes. You type in the question here. You don't have to necessarily fill out the answer every time, but you kind of give an idea of how long it was and how difficult the question is. For example, if they're only asking for like where the printer is, you go ahead and put that in and then go ahead and submit it. And then you can go ahead and check, say, reference transaction, the transcripts here. And then you can kind of do the same for the lib chat over here. Check the transcripts in this way too. So going back to the dashboard here, if we're going to go ahead and do reference online through libchat, I usually sign in here, and you can usually I exit out of these things. And what I do is, even though I'm logged into the system, I'm not actually online. I go ahead and under settings, I go ahead and click online here, switch it from red to green for both of these settings. This would only put me on the Cal State and only take questions from students at all the CSUs. Whereas the academic cooperative, that I end up getting questions from people overseas, such as in like the UK, for example. So so this is and so once it shows that I'm actually online, then the questions start coming in. For example, the questions start coming in through here, and see, as you can see, my name is listed right here. And so this is how libchat works. So back to here, we could go ahead now. So that's kind of how reference either in person or online is done. But now now we're going to move on to the next part, which is teaching. When I when I first began, I started observing lectures being given in libraries. Like this is a picture, for example, taken from one of the librarians, Nora, and when she was giving this lecture, and just this past week, I gave lectures in this room for the EOP class in this very same room, and so it's on the fifth floor in room 501. And so, and what I went over was, what I decided to go over in my lecture was where they can find information on services to the library and where they can find information on the library policies. And then I showed them, before going into OneSearch, I showed them information on the databases. Like, for example, if they wanted to if they wanted to say, let's say if they have a psychology class, I'd show that all the databases are arranged according to subject. And so And I also showed that, for example, that that this database, for example, with this icon is federated with OneSearch, and that this gives information. And also with the research guides, I showed that, for example, I showed the one for their EOP class, as we can see here. And I kind of showed that with research guides, they tend to show recommended databases and where you can find information for citing whether it's an APA, MLA, or Chicago, and so forth. So I did that, and then from there I asked if they had any questions, and then decided to go ahead and take them and do an explanation of OneSearch. For example, I start off with a term like this just to get into OneSearch, and then I kind of explained first, like if they're looking for a book, I explained that you would do it by going according to the call number here as listed, but then from there I explain that if it's not available, then they can request through CSU Plus either this way for the physical copy or a digital copy, and then I proceeded to go ahead and explain how the filters or limiters work, whether it's like peer reviewed or by resource type or the publication date and subject area. So this is how but then after explaining the limiters or filters, I went ahead and explained like how the Boolean operators work. For example, like and it narrows the search because it has to have both of them together, whereas or uh, can be useful to expand your search if, like, say, different words are being used to refer to the same thing, so that you're not cutting yourself off from opportunities. So this is how I proceeded to explain OneSearch to them. Now, after explaining once, now that's what I did this week. But I'll go ahead and let's see. I'll go ahead and go back here because on Tuesday I'll be I'm planning to give a lecture back in room 50, back in this room again, and to teach English 100. And we won't just cover one search, but we will also be talking about academic search complete. So that will be covered because that's for English 100. That's kind of the go-to here. And so I've explained this database before, so I look forward to being able to do it again. So now the next thing is I had a collection development assignment that I recently just submitted, and it's right here. And basically, it is for my bad. Basically, it is for a proposed new graduate program for an MS in nutrition and dietetics. So part of my task was to find out, just kind of get us an idea of what resources the library has and whether it can support the program, whether it's like by how many nutritional databases, how many journals, how many monographs, how many resources are available to provide. And so in a short 1 to 2 page summary, I basically kind of summarize whether or not I think the library and the school is able to support this new program. And I went with my bad. I went with supporting documentation, but I supported my argument by, say, citing the Clarivate citation reports, and in order to see what the top 100 journals are in nutrition. And then what I did was through OneSearch looked up each journal individually to see which ones are available, are accessible through OneSearch. So I was able to find out that around 91% of these journals are available for access through the school. So that was a big bonus in favor of being able to, and for the argument and being able to support the program. And also I I also not only did I look for get a rundown of the databases, the journals, and monographs, but I also poured through these nutrition research guides in order to figure out what all the resources I could that are offered here in order to get a better idea of whether or not the library could support this program. And so basically, this is a breakdown of the day in life for me. So thank you.